Brian Powell of I Run Far here with Brendan Davies before the 2015 TNF Transgrancanaria. How are you, Brendan?
Great, Brian.
Here we are. You're coming from summer, so you're one of those people who's oddly prepared for the heat and the distance this time of year.
Yeah, trying to take every advantage I can get. Yeah, it's been a hot summer down in Australia, like always, so yeah, I'm acclimatised to the heat, that's for sure. A bit different to when I went over to Western States last year, where I had to do some pretty funny things during our winter down there to get acclimatised. But
like what? How did you get ready last year?
Oh, look, I layered up in my thermals, turned on all the heaters in my shed, and did all that kind of hot room work.
Yeah.
But no, I didn't have to do it this time.
Just feels nice and cool. And
definitely. Yeah.
You had a long season last year. You had a lot of great performances, Western States, IAU, North Face Australia as well.
Yep.
Were you tired at the end of that stretch?
Absolutely, yeah. And then I thought I'd do something silly in Australia and do a 240-kilometre road race just to finish the year off. And I really found my limits, I think, towards the end of the year. So I had a bit of a break over Christmas and really got stuck into training about mid-January again.
So you did manage to get a break, because sometimes it's hard. It's summer down there, but I guess for you guys it might be a little easier because it's really dang hot.
Yeah. A little earlier I started training than I normally would. Yeah, so it's brought everything forward a little bit, which I think is positive. I'll be a little bit more conditioned for Western States, I think, and have a few more long runs under my belt.
Have you done any racing ahead of Transgrancanaria this year?
No, I haven't had a race yet this year. This will be my first one, so looking forward to getting the ball rolling.
Yeah, it's a little hard to gauge one's fitness before you actually race, but how do you feel coming into this?
Well, I feel really good. I've done a lot kind of more specific training for this event, obviously with the amount of elevation in it. So I've been doing a lot of vert and a lot of kilometres consistently, and not all. A lot of easy kilometres as well, so trying to keep my body kind of fresh at the same time. So it's been a good, consistent lead up, so I'm looking forward to getting stuck into it.
Good. Yeah. You end up racing a lot around the world. How do you make that happen, and how do you choose where you go?
Oh, look, I'm very fortunate that, Ultra Trail World Tour get behind me and obviously invite me to an event each year, and also with traveling to America, it's something that is just something you have to make happen. It's such a brilliant race, Western States. So this year I've taken leave from my day job as a teacher as well, so I'm coaching now. So it does give me a little bit more flexibility as far as my travel time goes. I don't have to stick to school holidays anymore. I can actually travel outside of school holidays. Yeah.
What brought you here to Transgrancanaria this year?
Oh, it's a good question, actually. I was looking to do Tarawera again. Unfortunately, I had something else booked that weekend, and Gran Canaria has always been one that's fascinated me. My parents actually met in the Canary Islands, so it's like retracing my heritage a little bit. And they were just purely both on holiday. My mum was working here, my dad was on holidays, and I thought, yeah, it's a great place to come. And I've read many good things about the race, so yeah, it wasn't hard. Yeah.
So what you're saying, you put in a lot of kilometers before this race. What does a typical training week look for you, say, 3-4 weeks ago?
Yeah, I've been averaging well over 100-mile weeks. Saying that, like at least half of that is with clients or with people I coach, and long runs at easy pace. So it's still been racking up the kilometers, but only about half of that has been like my own training. So it is good in one regard, because the easy kilometres have kept me fresh, I think.
So sort of forced recovery or easy runs.
Yeah, like recovery runs, but still clicking over the kilometres as well.
And then on a given week, do you do a certain long run? How long do you run in training ever?
I think my longest one leading up to this has been 50 kilometres. So not particularly long, but I did that kind of purposely because it's going to be a long season again, and these kind of runs or races make up your long runs, I guess, for the other ones. So yeah, I've kind of tried to keep myself quite fresh for this one. Yeah. Do
you do any intensity, be that structured speed work or tempo runs or steady state runs?
Oh, definitely. Like my training structure is, the elements always consist of long runs, tempo runs, and speed sessions at the track, and with hill work as well. So I do phase my training somewhat, but yeah, in the last kind of month or so, I've a lot more focus on hill and speed work. So trying to get
it's a fast race.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Well, on the downhills it will be. Yeah.
It's an interesting race in that regard because the first 7 or 8 hours, there's a ton of climbing. It's dark, and then you're coming downhill, but it gets hot and it's somewhat technical, and you gotta have your legs. Yeah,
you don't want to have fatigued legs coming down those mountains. Yeah, that's for sure. It's going to be a real strategic race, I think. If you kind of give yourself a little bit of an easier start, I think it's going to be better for you in the end. I think looking at Ryan's race last year, how he kind of worked his way through the field as the day kind of went to morning, I think that's kind of what I'm going to try and replicate.
So you'll try to run a real measured race at your own, gauging off yourself rather than trying to hang with anybody in particular.
It's the only way to race, I think, yeah.
Did you employ that with success at, say, Western last year, Western States?
More so like at the UTMF. Western States was my type of race, so if there was a race I was going to throw out a bit of a challenge or be a bit more of a risk taker, it's Western States, because you can run fast and I'm good at that. But the climbing races, I'm always a little bit more circumspect. I tend to hold back a little bit and just stay well under my red zone, and when I feel comfortable, I'll push on. Yeah.
So this kind of race is a little more of a challenge, or more outside your sweet spot.
Definitely. Yeah.
So you ran Western States really well, but you also ran very well at IAU 100K.
Yeah. My strengths are the flatter kind of. Not that Western States is flat by any means, but
it's more of for a trail ultra in the mountains. It's a little quicker than most.
Definitely, yeah.
I mean, at IAU 100K, were you under 7 hours, like 6:55-ish?
Yeah, I scraped in, and 12th and 6:56, yeah.
So, we had a great year last year, Brendan. Best of luck to you this year.
Thanks very much, Brian.
Cheers.
Cheers.